Thank you, Dr. Vyas. Little over 25 years ago, four people got together actually, and we realized that as a community we are very, very separated. We're all in our own little cliques, we're all in our little community groups, and we are not able to actually deal with the bigger issues that affect our community. So I would like to acknowledge that at that time, I know it's very hard for women to stay quiet for too long, but if I can please request you to give us a few minutes, soon we will break. Yes, so I must mention that Dr. Orikondi, who is here today, and Mr. Subharao, who is not here today, but he is here in spirit, and Mr. Hemchandra Rao, and myself, we spent many, many, many evenings drafting the very first constitution for UIA. Constitutions, like everything else, are guiding documents and they need to be filed away so that they are there only if there is an issue, but most of the time we run the organization with the right spirit. So I'm very, very proud to be a founding member of UIA, and here, even after 25 years, I'm here. And thank you all for your support for that. Thank you. I would just, before I introduce the next speaker, I'd like to again say that one of the things we are doing today is raising funds for a women's shelter in Blacktown. I've got Bharti Gidwani there, who's going to help me with selling the raffle tickets. And Anju will help Bharti as well. If you can stand up so people know who you are. They will be coming around to you, and please keep your money ready. Very, very small cost, $5 for one ticket and 3 for $10. So all the money that we collect from the raffle will go to the women's shelter for much needed support. Thank you, Bharti and Anju, for your support. Much appreciated. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, MALINI Raj. Thank you for being so patient, MALINI. I know it's a long morning, but what you hear today will come in very handy for you, and you will also learn something, and you'll be able to take that message across with you. MALINI has over 20 years of experience working across several prestigious domestic and international financial services organizations. She is currently Head of Strategy for Multicultural Community Banking at the Commonwealth Bank, a role which allows her to work in her area of passion on a daily basis, and that is promoting cultural diversity and social cohesion. The division is focused on authentic, meaningful engagement with multicultural communities, and in this role, she is involved in engaging at a strategic and government level with business communities and at a local grassroots level through programs focusing on financial inclusion. She consistently advocates for a more diverse workforce, diverse representation in the community, and is seen as a strong ambassador, thought leader for diversity and inclusion at the Commonwealth Bank, and was profiled as part of International Women's Day and Harmony Day external diversity programs, and has been a mentor to over 300 women, informally and through formal programs. How do you do that, Malini? It's huge. She is also chair of Commonwealth Bank's Cultural Diversity Employee Network Mosaic, which is responsible for promoting cultural diversity and inclusion across the group. She was responsible for introducing the corporate hijab into the CBA corporate wardrobe. Please put your hands together for that. That's a huge, huge challenge, a good thing that you've done. And that hijab is for the Muslim women employees in Commonwealth Bank. She has a strong interest in making a social impact, reflected in her roles in the Department of Finance, Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet's Advisory Group on Preventing Financial Abuse of Women, Advisory Board of Flex Careers and SHIQ, FinCEA Diversity Advisory Council, FECA Women's Advisory Group, Women's on Boards Cultural Diversity Advisory Group, Multicultural Ambassador and New South Wales Co-Chair, AFL NSW, ACT Multicultural Community Ambassador and volunteer at Starlight Foundation. I must tell you, I skipped a couple of lines and paragraphs of the things that she's been doing in the interest that you don't want to listen to me, you want to listen to her. So please put your hands together for Malini.
So thank you for having me today. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we meet and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. So before I begin, I do need to make sure that today's session will cover general information only. So if you will need to determine whether this is suitable for your individual situation. So what is financial wellbeing? Financial wellbeing can mean different things to different people. For example, the ability to meet your financial obligations, financial freedom to make choices that allow you to enjoy life, having control over your finances and being able to access funds when you need, and financial security now and in the future. At CommBank, we think of financial wellbeing as a combination of these three areas: meeting your everyday finances and managing debt responsibly, being prepared with savings for a rainy day and being able to bounce back, and managing your one-day finances to achieve medium and long-term goals. So it's great that many men are here today, but just wanted to say, why are we focusing specifically about women? So let's discuss some of the challenges that women face. Women receive 15.3% less pay on average. Women also make up less of the workforce, with 34% of women not in the workforce. Women take more career breaks for caring roles and have higher likelihood of working part-time because of these roles. Women are more likely to encounter financial abuse, which we'll discuss shortly. Women have less superannuation savings and make fewer investments. And women live on average 4 years longer than men, so they'll often have more complex and expensive retirement needs. While these stats are confronting, it's also worth noting some of the positives. Women live on average 4 years longer than men, and women are the economic powerhouses of the economy, making up 75% of transactions, meaning we shop more. While women make fewer investments, their investments tend to outperform men by on average 12%. So these challenges can have significant long-term impacts. Our superannuation system was designed for men working full-time. It assumes that individuals for 35 years or more earning an average wage without a career break. So, for example, taking 5 years off work for parental leave, for example, from the ages of 29 to 34, is estimated to shave $100,000 off the average retirement savings. Because of this, there is a 47% superannuation gap between men and women, and unless something changes, by 2030, the retirement income gap is expected to be 39%, with average balances projected to be $262,000 for women versus $432,000 for men. So I also want to discuss financial wellbeing in partnerships. While this may not be relevant to some of you right now, this contact may be helpful in the future and can be used to support family and friends. So while different couples may manage their money differently, healthy money relationships share three things in common. Sharing, financial decisions are and responsibilities are shared, so no one person bears the responsibility for decisions. Transparency, both partners have a right to get information and to ask questions and to understand the couple's financial position, and having a voice. The opinion, goals and needs of both partners matter when making financial decisions. Although healthy money relationships will look different from couple to couple, the absence of these three things can lead to problems and even financial abuse. Unhealthy money relationships can occur when both one person bears all the responsibility for money in the relationship, or when one person has no control or influence over money decisions that affect them. So it's never too early to start a money conversation with your partner. Both parties should be involved in setting goals and making financial decisions. Understand what you're liable for and if you have any joint loans or accounts or credit cards. And both parties should have equal access to accounts and make sure that they're both keeping on top of bills coming in, debt repayments and household expenses. This will build up your confidence in making financial decisions. In every relationship, there's no single right way to manage your money when you're a part of a couple. Different people bring different financial skills, attitudes, values, money management skills and goals to a relationship. So you cannot assume that you or your partner will automatically be on the same page for this reason. It's important to have regular, open and respectful conversations about money in relationships, and doing so will reduce conflicts and misunderstandings and protect your financial well-being. So you can be proactive, make time and schedule some time for conversations and don't rush them. Pick one thing, so agree on a single topic up front and try to keep your talk from jumping between so many issues, and manage emotions. So understand that emotions may come up on both sides in conversations, and if necessary, just take a break and agree to continue the conversation later at another time. So one way you might want to organise your accounts if you're in a relationship is to combine your finances. For example, one way to do this is to have some money shared in a joint account to cover joint bills and expenses, to save for shared goals, but each partner still keeps their own independent transaction accounts. It's also important to maintain personal accounts. It means you can access your own credit history and have a better understanding of your own finances. So keeping track of your credit history, so building up savings and having a buffer can give you the ability to make payments on time. This is important because late payments can affect your credit score, which influences your ability to apply for credit. Having a good understanding of your own credit score is really important, especially if you want to take out loans for rainy day expenses or to achieve your one-day dreams like buying a home. We recommend you checking out your credit report every year because listings on your credit report could let you know if someone else has used your name or to get a loan or a credit card. A lot of people don't know much about their credit report, so financial service providers use your credit report as an indicator of whether you can afford or are likely to repay the loan or credit limit you're applying for. So if you don't have a good credit history or none at all, it could taking out a loan a lot more difficult. Knowing what's on your credit report will give you a better idea of your borrowing capacity. If your credit score is low, you can improve it by paying bills on time or regularly paying off debt. So financial abuse. Financial abuse occurs when your partner uses money and other things you own to control you. It's a form of domestic violence and can occur even if your relationship is not physically abusive. We're very serious about tackling the issue at CommBank, and we want to make sure that you're equipped with knowledge to recognise financial abuse, are aware of the services offered so that, even if it's not relevant to yourself, it may be useful to help a friend or family member. Financial abuse is one of the most powerful ways an abuser can keep their partner trapped in a relationship and can continue after even a relationship ends. Research has found that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 13 men have experienced at least one incidence of violence by an intimate partner. And in fact, up to 90% of people who seek help for family and domestic violence are also affected by financial abuse. Financial abuse affects people from all socioeconomic and ethnic backgrounds, with or without children. All genders can be victims and perpetrators of financial abuse. Financial abuse just doesn't occur in heterosexual relationships. It can occur in abusive LGBTIQ relationships. Women with disabilities or long-term health conditions are significantly more likely than the general population to experience financial abuse. So financial abuse in the context of domestic and family violence is a hidden epidemic. Almost 40% of the Australian population have experienced or know someone, as I mentioned before. 79% aren't aware of the support available, and an overwhelming number believe there are barriers to support. And of that who experience it, only half have sought help. Another alarming statistic is nearly 1 in 10, or the equivalent of 1.8 million people, admit to having been a perpetrator. Financial abuse can take many forms, so it can be hard to identify. The many forms include a perpetrator who uses all their money or their partner's wages for household expenses while spending their money only on themselves. A perpetrator who hides assets, who takes complete control of their partner's finances, and who refuses to contribute financially to their household. It can include stopping you from working or studying, taking out loans or credit cards in your name, refusing or contributing financially, controlling your access to cash, bank accounts, benefits, pensions, keeping financial secrets, stealing. So if you believe a friend, a relative or yourself has experienced financial abuse, there are a range of resources available. Last year, we also became aware that our CommBank app was being used as a vehicle to facilitate financial abuse. We identified 8,000 customers who had received one or more of abusive transactions in a 3-month period. This included people transferring small amounts, less than $1, often just 1 cent, and having an abusive message in the transaction description. They were frequent, multiple transactions daily, weekly and monthly. The languages range from seemingly benign profanities to serious threats, including death, and clear references to domestic violence. So last year, we took action on technology-facilitated financial abuse and updated our acceptable use policy to address this risk and issue. And more recently, we have implemented an automatic block on some of the most offensive and abusive languages across our digital platforms, like the CommBank app. So despite its prevalence, financial abuse in the context of domestic violence being difficult to recognise, we are committed to fixing it. We have just announced our next chapter program, which will see CommBank bring a range of services and support and resources and research to the market. The first is a specialist community wellbeing team to provide confidential support to customers who are experiencing domestic and family violence situation with their immediate banking needs, safe banking support and referrals to external experts as required. We've also developed a new financial independence hub in partnership with Good Shepherd. This offers tailored financial coaching program to help people impacted with domestic and family violence to establish a pathway to long-term financial recovery, regardless of who they bank with. It provides one-on-one financial coaching and help people impacted get back on their feet with referrals to support services. We've also developed a financial abuse and recognise and recover guide, and that talks about strategies for recognising financial abuse, talking about money with your partner, resources and support useful for your recovery and regaining financial independence. And we have translated the summary flyer into 15 languages, and this includes Urdu, Hindi, Bengali, Punjabi and Tamil. And then we've also developed some easy English documents, and these easy English documents use 8 to 10 words and iconography to help understanding banking easier. And we've developed that on support services, financial difficulty and help from an interpreter. And we've also put together a coronavirus support guide for domestic and family violence, which addresses specific issues related to financial abuse. And so other supports for domestic and family violence, we offer unlimited leave for our employees. We've partnered with the New South Wales Gender Diverse Research Network, and we've also developed several other initiatives that will help our community break free from domestic violence. It's a hidden epidemic, and that often accompanies domestic violence, and we want to reduce it because we can't afford not to. So thank you.